Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where am I? Here I am. How are you all doing? It is so good to have you here. Absolutely. So, we're here today for creating world class sales results. Is that what you want? So, listen, it doesn't really matter if sales isn't in your title. I mean, it just doesn't matter at all. Because if you're in business, then you've got to be selling something. It doesn't matter if you're cleaning, if you're admin, if you are operations, it doesn't really matter. Would you like to have a higher pay scale? Imagine not just getting 1 or 2% or no percent. Imagine getting 10%, 20%, 30% from your company. Can you imagine that? But you can't, because most of the time we're thinking about, well, it's never happened before, so it's not likely to happen anymore now. And there's so many things that we could actually say, but who would like that? So listen, don't be afraid. I need you to chat and everything today because I have got a little gift for you. Well, it's not just a little gift, it's actually a life changing gift. It's the gift that got me to number one. It was the first thing that I did that unlocked my potential and sent me to number one. Who would like that? No, I charge £700 for that. Yeah, that thing that literally made me 100K, I charge £700 for. I think that's a good investment. Imagine if you could do that. Can you imagine? So I need you to, whatever channel you're on, because we're on LinkedIn, a few different Facebook groups, and YouTube. So we're on 3 different platforms. And so like, share, comment. And of course, if I see your name more, because I'm just going to look down the list and just blindly pick a name. That's how randomly I'm going to do it. So the more I see you, the more chances you've got. That's just the way it goes, isn't it? You got to be in it to win it. So listen, creating world class sales results. Wolfgang thinks it looks great, so that's great. I love that. I have my number one fan. We'll put him on there. So you go. There you go. He's there. He's commenting. So he's looking for this number one gift as well. So I don't know what platform you're on or whether you're watching live or whether you're going to be watching on replay, but make sure you let me know where you're from. I don't know. And what do you want to hear from today? Creating world class sales results. What is that all about? Well, let's get started because I just like to get straight into the game here. So, right, let's move these slides on here. So where's this information coming from, first of all? That's the one thing that I want to really, really help you understand. And so Think and Grow Rich, I know that a lot of people have read this, but they weren't getting actual results, were they? Or did you get results by reading Think and Grow Rich? I mean, here's the book here. Sure, you just have to look at it. Look at all that small writing in there. My goodness. Sure, you almost feel stupid just for, the size of the writing and how much you've got to do. So this book was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie. That's the first guy on the left there. And Napoleon Hill was the guy who wrote it. So Andrew Carnegie, you probably know him, the richest man in the world, probably to date. I don't know. Somebody can correct me on that. That's not really the point. He was very rich. And so he kept giving his money away, but it kept coming back. So Napoleon Hill for 20 years went and researched this book and wrote Think and Grow Rich. Researched 25,000 of the most successful people, and 500 of them made it into this book. Now, there is another book called Outwitting the Devil, and that's where you'll find the other 24,500. If you want to go and have a look in there, you might just find yourself in there as well. But I promise you, you're actually in here. So the next guy on the list there that you can see in the picture is Earl Nightingale. And he took this information and he created courses out of it. And so Bob Proctor, the next man on the list, he then learned directly from Earl Nightingale, and I have learned directly from Bob Proctor. I am Sheena Cantar. I am one of Bob Proctor's top consultants, and I welcome you to today, to the science behind your results. And I've got a good story myself, let me tell you, as to what's going on. I am not just talking about what's in a book or Thinking into Results, which was the program that is basically the practical application of Think and Grow Rich. I'm not here to talk to you about that. I'm here to talk to you about what gets results and the science behind it. Are you ready to hear this? So we could be on here for an hour. We could be on here for an hour and a half. I don't know. We could be on here for half an hour. I'm going to tell you what I need to tell you, and then I've got a free gift at the end. So you might want to just stay at the end. So not only is there a free prize draw, but there's a free gift. And guess here's the thing, I'm not selling you anything. I don't want to sell you anything, but you're going to want to come and have a conversation with me. You're going to want to do that. You're going to want your team to know this information, and for the reasons that I'm going to outline as we go through this work. So what did I do? Before I even show you that one there, I'm just going to get off that slide. So here's Sheena Cantar here. Just a little bit about my background, that I basically 15 years NHS, 15 years pharmaceutical, and the rest of the time, which is probably 6, 7, 8 years as self-employment, and working basically on Thinking and Growing Rich and helping companies do the same. So I studied and studied and studied. So I've got a degree in computer science and lots of other little qualifications, managing health services. Listen, there's just too many to mention because I couldn't get enough information. I thought if I thought and worked really hard that I would grow rich, but there's something just quite missing in all of this. And so not only did I do the computer science degree honors, that I studied to master's level in business, Reiki, yes, like two opposite ends of the scale there, NLP, that's neurolinguistic programming, and hypnotherapy and coaching. And I basically had so much knowledge, but I didn't have the results. And I ended up losing everything at one point because I think I was just top heavy and I fell over. So that's lesson to the people who are studying and studying and studying. Bob Proctor actually called us the educated derelict, people with so much information and no money. I don't know if that's you. So I love this slide here from Ray Bradbury from one of his books. Cram them full of non-combustible data. Chock them so damned full of facts that they feel stuffed, but absolutely brilliant with information. Then they'll feel they're thinking. They'll get a sense of motion without moving. That was me. I thought I was going somewhere with all of this information, but I wasn't going anywhere. I was actually standing still. Does anybody feel like that? Is there anybody out there who literally feels like that? That you've gathered up so much information, you know it all, but you've created a knowing doing gap that started off here, and then it got bigger, and then it got bigger, and then it got bigger. And now, like, it's so big because you know so much, but the results aren't there. Now, maybe you're in a job, but what's your pay rise happening? 1%, 2%, 3%. I mean, you'd be lucky to be getting 10% pay rise, wouldn't you? It doesn't really matter what your company's doing. And then I don't know what inflation is, but basically it looks like most of us are going backwards. You know, you've got cars to pay for, houses to pay for, children to pay for, and you're all just waiting to make it safely to your retirement so that you can live on 40% of what you couldn't survive on in the first place. Like, come on, come on. Surely somebody could come up with a better idea than that. And that's what Think and Grow Rich is all about. So listen, it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. That is such a powerful statement. Take a screenshot of that. Take a picture of it. It's not who you think you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. I remember when Sandy Gallagher said that to me, and I didn't really understand what that meant. And we're going to find out as we get through this webinar today. So here's one thing to really pay attention to. You know, I used to be really scared and feel really small whenever I came across somebody with lots and lots of knowledge. But I was always inspired by somebody who had made such a great business and were earning loads of money and were helping and investing and just expansion. It should tell you a lot, isn't it? Knowledge, 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 knowledge isn't worth a thing unless you've got the results to back it up. So I know there's a lot of coaches, because I was exactly the same. A lot of coaches out there who literally had all the knowledge, but don't have the results. But you see, that was me. Yep, that was me. I literally would, so I joined a pharmaceutical company, the number one pharmaceutical company in the world, pretty consistent with that. And when I joined them, I was getting all the correct KPIs. Like I was ticking every box and I would still get 100% sales, but I would never be on the leadership board. It was like my manager would look at all the activity that I did and I would pass every role play, like with absolutely flying colors. No matter what I did, I would do really, really well in the knowledge game and the playing it game. But when it came to actual sales results, wasn't hitting the leadership board. I just wasn't hitting it. Why was that? Got some stories to tell you on that. But first of all, let's have a look. There's a question here. Are your results causing your thinking? Or is your thinking causing your results? That might be something you might want to take a note of. Are your results causing your thinking? Or is your thinking causing your results? Which way do you think it should be? Answers on a postcard, please, to Sheena Cantar. So, you tell me. You tell me. Don't be afraid. Remember, click, like, share. You could actually win a prize that's worth £700 that literally helped me understand my program in my mind. Imagine if you could understand how you thought. Then imagine how you could understand how your team were thinking. Every single person, as unique as their thumbprint. Imagine if you could literally understand how they were thinking and could actually direct them in a way that would be beneficial for you, them, and the company and your customers. What do you think about that? So listen, do some of these results look good? 220k a year to $1 million a month. That was a hotel company. KPIs of 67% to 100% consistently from month one of applying this. Wow. Zero pipeline to 5 million in 3 months. Do they sound like some of the results that you would want? And how about just being the number one sales team in the company? Or how about if you're an individual and you want to make your annual salary monthly? I've got people who've done that with this information, with the information that I am going to tell you in this webinar, like the whole way through to the end. Like I say, I'm not selling anything at the end, but you'll want to come on a call with me and find out what I've got. I want to give this as pure value, because this information was what turned everything around for me. So I've had people who literally got made redundant and the company had made something like 200k or something like that. No, that's what it was. They were made redundant, and then within 4 months they bought the company and they were 200k in profit. Wow, what turnaround! How does that happen? How is that possible? Do you want to know? So listen, if anybody's commenting or liking or sharing, please do that so that you can win your prize. The more you do it, the more I'm going to see your name, the more chances are you're going to get selected. And it doesn't matter if you're a company, this would absolutely change everything in your leadership whenever you understand this. So what's this slide here all about? I'm also a Gallup certified strengths consultant, as well as a Bob Proctor certified consultant. If you don't know who Bob Proctor is, he's a world leader in human potential. And he taught me quite a few things, to be honest. I studied with him for 4 years until he passed away in February this year. And so what we've got here is a little chart of people who are engaged in your business, who are not engaged, and people who are actively disengaged. Now, I remember working with somebody who was actively disengaged. It was unbelievable. I mean, as a medical rep, it was so funny. He would literally go, leave lunches at GP surgeries, and then find out who was in and just leave. He didn't stay and he didn't present ever. He just ticked the boxes. He looked very good on paper, but clearly he never made the sales board. But the rest of the team were carrying him. And nobody said anything, because you know what he was really good at is taking the zeros to ones. We just had to make sure that we had, everybody was seen. So we used to use him. It was so funny. So he felt like he had a worth at least, but he didn't care. I mean, he talked a really good story. He talked a really good story. And that's what I noticed that salespeople do. They talk a very, very good story. But see this actively disengaged bit? There's a bit of that in all of us. Do you know what this bit, how you can see it? Whenever you react to something, like literally react to something that's not good. Like maybe somebody pulls in front of you in the car and you get all annoyed, or something doesn't go your way. That is your lowest vibration. That is something we're going to discuss later on, because that it is what is driving you. Yet we cover it over. We cover it over with food, with being busy, with alcohol, with drugs, with sex, looking for lovers, looking for this, seeking, 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 seeking. We cover it up, and then we blame everything else when it doesn't go our way. So we've got people like this in the company, but we've also got emotions like this in ourselves as well. So those not engaged people, well, some days it's good, some days it's not good. It doesn't really matter to them. They'll talk a good story, a very, very good story, but you don't know whether they're telling the truth or not. And then you've got the people who are totally engaged, who are totally building, and they're just ignoring everybody else because they're getting on with it. They've also got these bits inside of them as well, but they are focused and driven, and they're the ones that are getting the results. You see, the thing is, what we tend to do is we tend to copy their behavior. But what we can't emulate is how they're feeling and how they're thinking, because they don't even know. They are just doing it. They are being it. They cannot put a finger on it. And what I learned is all the knowledge that I got, I didn't need to know what to think. I needed to know how to think. That is so crucially different. I needed to know how to think. And most people don't know how they think. Even the most successful people, if you get to them and have a conversation, they'll tell you, well, I read this book, I did this, I did the other, I did lots of different things. And yeah, they won't give you, so you copy it, but that's not for you. That was something specific for them, but they're not even telling you the truth because they don't actually know the truth themselves. Now, what I find whenever I studied thinking into results with Bob Proctor, taught me how to think. How to think. That is what is crucial here. So what's going on inside of us? Let me just share some information here, just a little bit. So you can see this picture beside me here. I am pointing in the right direction, aren't I? I can't see from the screen if I'm pointing in the right direction. So there's a thermostat, a cybernetic instrument. Just bear with me for this one. So, whenever you turn on the temperature, turn on the heating at home, and you set the dial to 70 degrees. And if somebody opens the door, then it goes a little bit colder. And so there's a little flame that comes on and switches it all on. And as it starts to get warmer and warmer and warmer, well, then it switches off. It's back to 70 degrees again. So it all happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. Do you understand that? You don't have to do anything. You see, so what I want to show you now is, so I'm starting with the actual answer to how do you create, world-class sales results? Why are goals not happening for some of your team? And why are they happening for others? It's down to this cybernetic instrument, and it's hidden in every single one of us. Let me explain. It's your self-image. It's the image you hold of yourself. This is the root cause of all your results. This is the concept of self. The concept of self. Now, some people look in the mirror. They did a little test with men and women actually, and they had men look in a mirror and women look in a mirror and see what they saw. And the men were like, "Oh, well, I'm this and I'm this and I'm this," and they had like a false image of themselves. And the women were so critical of themselves, even though they were beautiful. All they could see was the false. It was so funny to see. So some people look in the mirror and can tell themselves a great story, but actually inside, they're feeling so tiny. They've got all the qualifications. They look the part. They walk in looking confident. They speak confidently. But inside, they're actually shaking like a leaf. But they play the game. Now, let me tell you a little bit about me and about self-image. So, my journey, just take that off for the moment, can I? There we go. So my journey let's just start off, sorry, somebody's just reading one of the comments here. I can see this. So what you were saying is you need to stuff your emotions like a wave to harness to energy instead of allowing the wave to dump you. Oh, I like that, Jonathan. What do you mean basically saying ride the wave? Ride the wave. So listen, whenever I was 10 years old, so I have always been a number one performer, but I didn't actually notice it until I started studying with Bob Proctor. I mean, I just went through my self-worth was in my boots, let me tell you. But at the age of 10, I was a number one Irish dancing champion. Yeah. No, it's not, Jonathan. I know you said fake it till you make it. It's actually more than that, because if you fake it till you make it, there's something else going on there, and you're setting out a vibration. And as we go through this information here, I'll be able to share that with you. Faking it till you make it just sets up a vibration that other people can pick up on it just like that, and it doesn't actually fix anything. That's what I find, because I used to just fake it and I didn't make it. So, but listen, at the age of 10, I was an Irish dancing champion. So I was number one in Northern Ireland. And then whenever I went to be the UK champion, I literally had an awareness moment on stage at the age of 11. And I just stood there and I looked at everybody looking at me, and I just forgot everything. I literally forgot anything. And so everything. And then I picked up again, but clearly I didn't win the competition. I didn't want to do Irish dancing after that. It was as if I just woke up on stage just like that. When I was 10 as well, I came number one in the pony camp that I was at. But what came along with that as well was my friend didn't talk to me for a couple of days. So you see, to me, at that ripe old age of 10, I had basically some programming put into me. And it was basically that winning was losing. Winning was losing. That's what I felt, because every time I seemed to try, I would win, but then I would lose after. And so for the next quite a period of time when I went through school, I showed up. I always did my best, but I never understood what they wanted from me. They were like looking for something from me, and I didn't know what it was. I mean, I came out with 5 O-levels, but that was it. And then I went on to be a medical secretary, because my mum told me, well, you're not academic, so clearly, there's no point in you going on to do your A-levels. Clearly, mummy, thank you very much for that, for deciding my future right there and then. But I still didn't listen to her, because I really wasn't listening to anybody. Apparently, I was bullied a few times, and people had to tell me that we tried to bully you, Sheena, but you never even noticed. So it's quite a funny little story. I should write a book, maybe. Anyway, so whenever I was 19, this is all about self-image. I want to give you this idea about self-image, about maybe it might impart something from yourself. So when I was 19, I wanted to go and join the RAF. And I went and I did an IQ test for an admin job. And they interviewed me. And when I did the IQ test, they came out and they said, We want you to be an officer. Your IQ test is off the scale. You're 160. We want you to be an officer. Now, I didn't have a clue what that meant. 160. That just, I thought, my goodness, what have I done? Have they got somebody else's results? I don't even know what this means. What do you mean be an officer? I don't even understand that. And so I went home and I didn't tell anybody. I was so embarrassed that people would think, like, what was, they wanted me to be a leader? Like, they surely got the wrong results. So I didn't tell anybody. And I didn't notice this until I started studying with Bob Proctor and started studying thinking into results. And then I saw, oh my goodness, I saw my self image. And I was like, my self image was of a medical secretary, not an officer. So I couldn't accept anything else. And I didn't understand it. And I walked away from it. So I then went and I've been in the NHS. You know, I've assistant hospital manager, medical staffing, auditor, lots of different roles before I then joined the pharmaceutical company. So when I joined the pharmaceutical company, I remember actually my uncle Brian saying to me, he said, Sheena, one of the things you want to learn about selling is they're going to try to sell you how to sell, and they're going to try to sell you how to be different. He says, and then it's going to take you the rest of your life to undo it. Oh my goodness, wasn't he so right? And so here's my self-image was of an NHS, National Health Service employee, and you're just lucky to have a job, and you know nobody really cared as long as you did your job. Your performance reviews were like, you know, do you need anything, Sheena? No. Well, then that's okay. And that was basically it. And if I wanted to do my courses, then I would ask for that, and that's about as far as it got. So when I joined a sales team, I didn't actually feel like a salesperson. Not at all. Not at all. And so I went through 10 years with high KPIs, high marks on everything, but never being on the leaderboard, never being there. There was one time that I had literally, my position had become number one, but I was moved from my position 4 months before it became number one. Somebody else was moved into my position who hadn't even sold the drug that I was selling, had nothing to do with it. The customers who would see me wouldn't see him, and he became number one. I was gutted. But do you see what the universe was giving me what I wanted based on my self-image? My self-image was not of a winner. To me, winning meant losing. There was another hit there. Somebody else won, and apparently I lost. I lost out. Again, I'm getting more hits like this. But I had created those results. I didn't see that. I had actually created those results with those customers. So then when I became into a senior management role, there's a whole story around that, which I won't go into. But I went to assessment center after assessment center after assessment center would always be top, but they would never give me the job. And 2 years later, finally, a woman came in and she brought me on. And so one of the things that I remember with one of the leadership programs that I did in this pharmaceutical company was they actually chucked me out and they said, well, you're not a leader. And I went, what is a leader to you? Well, a leader stands up and talks and leads from the front. And I'm like, but that's not leadership to me. Leadership is sometimes that. It's sometimes being in the middle of everything, doing the do with everybody else. And it's sometimes sitting back and watching and allowing everybody to literally getting on with it. So that to me is leadership. But when you needed to stand up and direct, then I could do that. But there wasn't a necessity because most of the people I was working with were so brilliant. You know, and isn't that what Henry Ford did? He would literally have, you know, his 10 buttons and he would say, well, I don't need to know the information because these 10 people here do. So you'd press on the button and they would give him the answer. As a leader, I thought I was supposed to know everything because that's what I was being trained and programmed for. You need to know, you need to know, you need to know. But we're all here together. We're all here to help each other. And that's by understanding your strengths and how you think, is that when you understand somebody else's strengths and how they think, you can actually work together and go, oh my goodness, it would take me all year to do that. And you can do that in 5 minutes. Why aren't we working with people more that way rather than just going, this is your job, you need to do all of it? That's not how it works. When we can start to really work together, then that's when we will start to really get results. But we need to understand. So from my CV, you would actually think that I was very much because I'd got health economics diploma, it's computer science and business, and you'd think that I'd love sitting behind the computer. But oh my goodness, no. I want to be out there just talking to people. So if you put me in a job that had me behind a computer, I would drop in my energy. I'm very good at that stuff, but I don't want to do it. I want to be out talking to people. That's where I'm really good at, and I love doing that. And so when I had my strengths done, I realized that I was different from all the other strategic managers because they were strategic and I wasn't strategic. It was very much relationship and influencer, not strategic. So while they were all talking about it, Sheena was out doing it. And then I would come back and talk about wisdom rather than from knowledge. See, we want to talk from wisdom. Wisdom is gained by experience. Knowledge is just something you've learned and regurgitated. That's it. So guess what happened? I became number one. Number one in my very senior team across the whole of the UK, which made me top 10% of this number one company in the world. Now, I want to tell you something that actually I played a little trick on myself to get there because my self-image still was not up to that standard. And I played a trick on myself. But that's something that you'll learn if you come and work with me. I'm not going to spend time to tell you it now because it would just take this on for we'd be here for another 3 days. But anyway, so I played a trick on my subconscious and I became number one. There were lots of other things that started to happen as well that I noticed. So I left. And then I decided to prove the work, because I'd studied NLP. I literally took on 3 different contracts, and I would say to myself, I'm going to be number one. I'm number one. I've got one message and I'm number one. And that's what I did. And so each contract was anywhere between 3 to 5 months, and I would always be number one. I would cheese off the managers though, because I wasn't the best at admin. I was a pain in the neck and I just did things my way. But I got results. So thank goodness I was only in and out, because clearly Sheena wasn't to be managed anymore. Clearly Sheena was running her own business and I just wanted to prove a point. And it was a win-win-win situation because, some people, the patients got their drug, the hospital saved money, the company earned money, and everybody got their bonus because Sheena became number one. So that's what I did. So then whenever I joined Bob Proctor's team, oh, by the way, then I started to work with Gallup and work with strengths. And I would be a consultant and I would help other companies and I would help them get to number one because I had proved the evidence. I was able to prove the evidence to other people, and every team I worked with would go to number one. Isn't it awesome? So LinkedIn event page is not live, it's listed pre-live. I see. Kim, I think it just goes live anyway separately. So I've also sent everybody a YouTube link, and the YouTube link can be, you can go straight on there and watch it at any time. So it's the live or the replay. Thank you so much. If you want to share whatever you've got, Kim, that would just be absolutely awesome. It would help other people. So where did I get to in that little story? It's a long self-image story, but you're getting the idea. What is it with you? So then I joined Bob Proctor's team, but that was before, just after I'd lost everything. I had so much knowledge, but I couldn't work. I was working harder and harder and harder, thinking it was knowledge that was getting me the results, and it wasn't. So working with Bob Proctor, the first 18 months was horrific, to be honest, because this program, Thinking into Results, this one here over my shoulder, this was the one that literally just it threw up all the awareness. I mean, actually just the awareness of all that, because I had a positive mindset, but my body was coming from lack. And so that's one of the things that I didn't realize that you could do, that you could have a positive mindset, but that your body and your actions are coming from lack. Wow. So no matter how hard I worked, I was working against myself. Does anybody ever feel like that? Does anybody ever feel like that? But I worked through it. I stayed consistent, persistent. I kept doing the work, kept doing what he said. And I started to find me again. And I realized it was all about my self image. The concept I had of myself was running the results, not the knowledge, not the hard work, but the very concept of who I was running those results. Now, let me just explain that a little bit further. So, the image of who you are. What is the concept? Do you call yourself a winner? Do the people in your team call themselves a winner? Or are you just going and doing a job? Are you just trying to get money? Are you just trying to get clients? What is your intention? Or haven't you even noticed your intention behind everything? Have you even noticed the intention? Can you stand there and call yourself a winner? Now, when I went to see Tony Robbins, I remember him saying, "You've got to shout out you're a winner." And every time I went to shout out I'm a winner, I would burst into tears. And I could feel it. I literally would hit me in the stomach. And I was like, I said to Wolfgang, my partner, I'm like, I can't say I'm a winner. I don't know what's going on here. So I would try it and try it. That's just work it. That's the fake it till you make it. Was not working for me at all. I literally just wanted to cry and I couldn't say it. And so that's when I started to find out about all the little things that had happened. And I was able to put them to sleep. Once I'd understood them, I just went, oh my goodness, there was nothing to work out. I just had to see it, forgive it, and then move on. And that was it. But can you call yourself a winner? And then some people say, well, I don't really want the money. It's not really about the money, but you're working so hard to get the money. You're working so hard. In Wallace Wattles' book, Science of Getting Rich, the first chapter, it basically says that if you're not making the most of yourself and making a lot of money to help others, then you're being very selfish. Because think about it. If you think, oh, money doesn't matter. Well, that's not very nice to money, is it? Imagine if money was your friend. Come with me, come here, come here, come here. Oh, no, it's okay, you don't matter. Wow. It's not a very good friendship, is it? That's what I was doing to money as well. I realized my whole relationship with money was terrible. And we're programmed that way, aren't we? We're programmed to have money, no money, have money, no money, in a job. Once a month. Ooh, payday. Oh my God, I've got nothing left. In the Bible, it says to give and not to count the cost. But we do that every month. Every time we get paid, we see it all whittled down to, and then we've got hardly anything. And we never think of, well, what could I do to, instead of, just allowing that to happen, what could I do to create more? What could I do to create more? What could I do to create more? Are you a winner? So I mentioned something about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind and coming from lack. So in my conscious mind, I was positive. My number one Gallup strength is positivity. Miss Positivity. I can turn anything around. Don't you just come along to me and I can turn any story around. I can turn it around and make you feel just better and allow you and help you. I can't make you feel anything. I can help you to allow yourself to feel better about yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. I can literally turn it around. That's my absolute gift from God, like the positivity strength. And I just took it for granted. And yet it really is truly a gift. I love it. I love it. I love it. So ask me any question, I'll turn it around for you. So the subconscious mind was coming from lack. And here's what's happened is that causes a vibration in my body, which control my actions and therefore my results. My actions will control my results. And depending on the demonstration, you see, I may think something, I want this, I want £1 million, I want my team to be number one. But if my whole demonstration in my body is something different, and yet I'm faking it, you see, people don't pick up on your actions, they pick up on your vibration. And in that vibration, They then decode it in their mind, and then their left brain starts to think something's not quite right here. So you see, as a sales rep, can you imagine, going in and trying to sell something and not being 100% confident, not thinking you're a winner, not thinking you're going to get the sale, and just going, we'll see what happens. And then you're just like, oh, they don't like it. Oh, and you're reacting to what the customer's doing every time. Can you see that? If you're selling one-to-one or selling to a group and you're like, oh, did they like it? Did they like it? Did they like me? You're being too self-aware here. You're not serving at all. You're just thinking of yourself and how you're feeling and what are they thinking of you. And so your vibration, you fake it till you make it. You're fooling nobody. You cannot fool the universe. Everybody picks up on it. Everybody. But we have a different representation because of our left brain, and our knowledge and our experience will give us a different representation than the person next door. There's only 3 forms of knowledge: experience, knowledge, and infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence is what you cannot see. You cannot see. It is life itself. Now, you know you're alive because you're watching me. You can feel you're alive. That's where all the answers are. But oh no, we've got to do everything through our conscious mind, and we force things. But our self-image, we actually have, I reckon we have 2 self-images. One in the conscious mind that thinks, I can. Oh no. But the one on the inside, your results don't lie. You can tell me all the stories, you can give me all the excuses, but when I ask you about your results and I ask you about where you are in life, and you tell me, I know where you're programmed to be at. Remember, I was a computer programmer, studied computer science. I know. Somebody said to me, Sheena can tell the future. I can. You have a conversation with me, just 5 minutes, that's all I need. You just tell me some stories and I'll tell you exactly where you're going. But I can also tell you where you could be going, because I will see that as well. And I know how to help you do that. Oh my goodness. But I can't do it for you. There is no course. There is nothing on this planet, universe, not even God, is coming to save you. You have to do it. You have to walk the walk. I thought, you see, that if I aligned myself with all these qualifications and that I went and stood beside and got taught by Bob Proctor, that all of a sudden it would just infiltrate my subconscious and everything would be fine. I had to do the walk. And it's been a hell of a growth. A hell of a growth, let me tell you. I don't believe it has to be that hard. I believe I can, because I did it the hard way, that I can teach you the easy way, if you'll let me. Or you can go and buy another program, read another book. But that's what you did yesterday. That's what you did the day before. You see, your conscious mind is 2%, and your self-image is 98%. And you know your self-image, don't you? You know it. Yes, you're watching this now. You know what your self-image is. You can feel yourself shrink when you're supposed to step up. I know why that's happening. We're going to explain. So listen, if this is doing you any good at all, just give us a like and a share. Put a wee emoji. Why don't we have some emojis? Some emojis would be really, really good. Because here's the good news, is that you're absolutely flipping fantastic. You are life itself. You are literally an embodiment of infinite intelligence itself. You are amazing. Now, here's the thing. But you would say that, Sheena. I know it. It is science related. It is absolutely science related. Okay, so they looked into our cells and they found atoms, and they thought atoms were the building blocks of life. But then they looked into an atom, and guess what they found? Nothing. light, energy. We are vibrating balls of light. Wow. So instead of calling ourselves a noun, we're a verb. We're actually moving. We're moving. We're not objective. We are subjective. Just even the same as this book here. This is subjective. It is made of the same stuff that we're made of. I'm made of the same stuff as the planets. It's all the same basic stuff. It is light vibrating molecules of light. Now, if your mind chucks that out and doesn't understand it, that's really good, because if the mind understands it, then it's not true. It's because the mind can only understand finite. The universe is infinite. And when you can truly get your head around this, you see, when we really understand the concept of who we are, that we are energetic, vibrational beings. Just check out Nikola Tesla. Energy, frequency, vibration. When we can think of those terms, we would never go into a call and fake it until I make it. Never. It's a waste of everybody's time. Don't bother your little backside. There is another way. There is another way. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. Are you getting the idea? Are you getting the idea? But oh no, we've got all these programs, viruses, doubts, insecurities. But Sheena, I've got an answer for every single one of them. Every single one. There is not one excuse that you could come to me with that I would refuse to see this about you. This is your greatness. This is your greatness. This is you. This is a story that you've told over and over and over again. So if you're running a sales team, you as a manager, a leader, you have a story in your head, and you have a story about all your employees as well. And certain one of them, they're good, they're not very good, they're rubbish, they're brilliant, and you've labeled everybody. Enough of that. If you could really understand how everybody thinks, you would see their genius. Everybody is a genius. If only we could point ourselves where we're supposed to be. And where are we supposed to be? Wherever energetically, vibrationally we feel good in. Now, if you cannot change the circumstances, you can change your perspective or change your circumstances. So your self-image is a cybernetic instrument, and it's in your subconscious mind. And you have no clue how it's programmed except to look at your results. Your results are telling you exactly how you've been programmed. Your results are telling you. So you will have a certain amount of money, whatever you've been earning in the last 5 years, average it out. That's what you're programmed to earn. Don't be thinking you're going to earn $1 million if you cannot change that programming. Don't be thinking your sales team, who have never got the good results, that they're going to be consistently getting good results, because they will get results and then they will even out. Just look at this about, being overweight. I'm sure everybody's been on a diet and made a decision to diet. And so we start to lose weight. Can you see that on that diagram there? We start to lose weight. That's the little green thing going on the bottom. I can't really point to it from here. And then what happens is that because they didn't alter their self-image, because maybe I've always been a fat person. I lose weight and then I put it back on again. And this story goes on and on and on and on. And so guess what? You end up back where you started again. Does that happen to anybody? I've got a way out of this one as well. Let me tell you, I've got a good way out of this one. How can you be on a cruise ship for nearly a month and not put on any weight? You see, I know my self-image is a cybernetic instrument, and I set it before I went. Do you want to know how to set it? So listen, what if you're a salesperson? If you're in business, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're a coach. I don't care if you're a leader and you don't have sales in your title. If you're in business, you are all in sales, because if there's no business, there's no job. And so if you're in sales, you want your sales to be in your subconscious. But you see, like me, I wasn't a salesperson in my subconscious. I was not. In fact, it's only really been in the last year that I noticed that I was a world-class sales professional. You'd think that'd be funny considering there'd be some sort of, track record, Sheena, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I almost just took it for granted that I would be number one, no matter what I did. And so what action, what vibration is happening whenever you're on a call with somebody, if you're out selling with somebody? What is actually happening? What's happening inside of you? What is your image that you're holding of yourself? Are you a winner? Are you a winner? We want to be a winner, because if you win, then it means the client has won, and it means the business has won, and it means the customers, everybody wins. Imagine being able to pay your staff 10% bonus, 20% bonus. Imagine that. So that, you see, that is the hidden mechanism that we're looking at. That is the secret to all of your sales team results. If only my manager knew that. If only my manager knew that. You see, the first manager, can you go deeper into your mental journey of going from helping others, becoming number one, to getting to being okay with you being number one? Say that again. Can you? Hi, Kim. So, can you go deeper into your mental journey of going from helping others, become number one, to getting to being okay with you being number one? Okay, so Kim, what I did was I actually looked at my history of where I was, and I just asked the question, and memories started to come up. You see, what we try and do is we try to figure it out. But if your mind is asking the question, your mind doesn't have the answer. So stop trying to figure it out. It's really funny, isn't it? You ask the question and then you try to figure it out. Well, no, you're asking your subconscious the question, and you allow the answer to rise. So memories started to rise of all the things that, my goodness, I was number one here, but then this happened, then I was number one here, then that happened, oh my goodness. And so because I'd noticed a pattern, I was able to reprogram that pattern, and I chose to reprogram. And I'm going to talk about that later on as we go through. So it's all about reprogramming. So the input, and then there's a program running in Sheena, and then there's an output. So most of the time what we try to do is fix the output, but that's too late. That's an effect. What we want to do is fix the input. And on the input and the programming, the two things at the same time. And so that's how we change the output. But it was consistent, persistent work, Kim. It wasn't something that you can just go and read. I had to just keep saying certain things over and over again, or forgive certain things in my life, or just even understand what things were. So somebody said you are number one. I love that. I don't know who you are, but it says here, Facebook user, if you would like to declare yourself, you are number one. That's so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. So where are we now? Right. So that's the hidden mechanism. That's the concept of who you are. That's going to change everything. Everything. So what do I mean by concept? So if I say the word God, there's like 7.8 billion concepts of the word God, because it doesn't matter what religion you're in. Even in all the different religions, everybody has a different thought and everybody has a different experience. Therefore, God to you will be a different concept. And somebody could say God and it rushes you off in that way. Somebody says God and they run off in that way. So Sheena is again Nick of Fort Worth. Great. So the concept of who you are is everything that needs to be changed. That's it. Leave conditions, circumstances alone. Leave everybody alone. Now, how are we going to change that self-image? Right. Are you ready for this now? We're still going. My goodness, have I been talking for this long? I think we will be an hour and a half. Are you in for a bit longer? Sure, stay in. It'll be absolutely great. I'd love to have you. I love all your comments there. So, how are we going to change our self image? Here's an idea. We're going to look at different goals. Now, Bob Proctor taught us how to do A, B, and C goals. And to be honest, it's genius because you don't realize, when you're setting goals, and I know that some of your companies are setting your goals for you. But I want you to set your own goal. And I want you to even tease that out to your manager that I don't care if you just hit 100% and you'll get bonus. I want you to hit 200% so you get twice as much bonus. How would that look like? What would that look like for you? Or leave your job and run your own company and make your own money instead of having to give half of it away every single time you get your paycheck. So an A goal, which is basically what happens in corporate. So how the goals are set in corporate are smart. Well, they're not very smart because what you're doing is you're bringing in yesterday to today. Let me explain that. So I spoke to somebody the other day and they said to me, well, we've got to make the goals realistic and achievable. Now, what does that mean? So realistic means, well, I need to know what happened before and what's happening today. So then I can plan my future. No, 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 no. Oh my goodness. All you're doing is creating yesterday to be your future. You're making the past your future. Imagine if we did that with I can't remember who it was who said that if we'd have asked people back in the day before cars, I think it was Henry Ford himself as well. If we asked people whenever there was horses and carriages, what do you want? And they would say faster horses. You've got to think completely differently, like completely so stupid and illogical that people laugh at you. So Henry Ford actually asked for a V8 engine and his team said, no, we can't do that. And he said, I want a V8 engine. They came back, no, we can't do that. I want a V8 engine. We can't, I want, we can't, I want. I think it was 3 years later, he got the V8 engine. You see, how long are you going to keep going? How long? Oh, somebody would, whenever I applied for the senior management role, and somebody would turn up at the assessment center, and then they would like didn't get it, and then they didn't. Well, it's clearly not for me, and I'm like, well, you only went once. My goodness, I spent 2 years going to them until somebody flipping well let me have the job because I knew I could do it, and they went once. Somebody went twice, but nobody else stayed the pace like Sheena. Nobody else stayed the pace. You see, if you want something, you've got to really step out of you just got to keep going. Consistency. That's it. And you're consistent anyway. Are you consistent at quitting? You're consistent at, oh, I can't do that. You're consistent. It's not that you have to find consistency. You are consistent, but what are you consistent in? You don't have to find confidence because you are confident. Just what are you confident in saying that you can't do something? So look at these A-type goals. That's what your companies, that's what corporate teams are actually being set. Corporate teams are actually setting that because they're looking at yesterday, deciding the trend and deciding where to go. Now, what's your corporate, what literally is the result? 10%, 12%, 15%? Is that the growth? That's the same as you did last year. It's the same as you did the year before. It's the same as you did the year before. But I'm sorry, but the earth and the world has cost so much more money now. You haven't grown at all. And did you pay your employees 15% extra? I bet you didn't. That's not growth. That is staying the same and just moving. So then what happens is, so that's what I'm saying, realistic. What is realistic? Realistic is, well, what does the definition of real mean? Real means that it doesn't change. Something that doesn't change. Well, guess what? Today changed. Yesterday changed. Everything changes. So it's not real. It's not real. Do you get it? It's not real. If it changes, it's not real. What doesn't change? What doesn't change? Whenever you were 8 years old and you looked in the mirror, you had an awareness of seeing yourself. And you have an awareness of seeing yourself right now. Like right now, I just made you aware of you. Whoa. Can you feel that? Just, I'm aware of me now. That awareness never, ever changes. I may change on the outside. I may feel different, but I'm aware of my feelings. I am not my feelings. I am having different thoughts. I am not my thoughts. I am not my mind. I am not my body. Who am I? Keeps taking us back to the concept of self. So realistic basically means, yeah, it's not what you think it means. Your realistic is taking yesterday. Well, I did that before, so I can do it again. And we'll crawl our way to growth. When really you're standing still. Because nothing in your life has changed. You still owe the money. You still got to pay the house. You end up in a pension that's 40% of what you couldn't survive on in the first place. I'm only just being challenging. Like, don't shoot the messenger. This was my wake-up call. Literally was my wake-up call. And so achievable means you've done it before. That's not growth. That's not growth. That's not a goal. Hi, Syed. Lovely to have you on here. And so, a B goal, right? So the next goal that we have will be a B goal. And so this is what I think I can do. Let's have those stretch targets. Yay for stretch targets. Anybody who's in corporate, you love the stretch targets. Not. What does it make you feel like? Who wants to be stretched? I felt it. It's sort of like your head's going, yeah, that looks really good. Oh, God, we're never going to do that. How are we going to do that? They're not motivating. They're not motivating any shape or form. They actually just cause despair. And so some people don't even bother trying. They'll play the game, though. They'll play the game. I thought I was doing my best, but actually I had this little program going on going, sure, what's the point? Sure, what's the point? Sure, what's the point? I want you to think of a fantasy, what you want. So what if you were 100% to target? What if you decided that you were going to be 200% to target? Now, I've known people who've done that. So the time that I became number one across the country, I had a girl in another position become number one across her team as well. Now she was at 60%. 3 months before end of year, she ended up on 220%. She practiced what I teach. And it's so funny, we were both number one at the same time, but I wasn't there and she was. That's a whole other story. So we want something that is ridiculous. I spoke to somebody as well recently, and they said they wanted to have a target of 3 million in 3 years. And I said they were already at 1.7. And I went, well, that's not really growth. Why don't you do 3 million in 1 year? Oh, well, I may as well have 10 million then. Yeah. Why not 10 million? You see, the idea is to ask you to stretch, not stretch, don't let me use that word again, is to get outside of your box, is to help you feel so uncomfortable that you start to think of different ideas. Because while you're thinking in this box, it's only the same regurgitation. Oh my goodness, it looks different, different people, different circumstances, but actually it's just the same stuff. It's not inspirational. When you have a goal that people laugh at you, then you know you're doing something different. But what do? We come back down and we sort of go, okay, well, let's do what I think I can do. That's not inspirational. And there's no motivation that whenever you hit bumps in the road that you just go, it's not worth it. What would you spend your extra bonus on? What would you spend it on? So here's one of the things, and I love this, the fact that actually Grace Hopper was a pioneering computer scientist. My goodness, I wish I'd known about her before. But she said the most dangerous phrase in the language is, we've always done it this way. So if you go back to, if you're watching this and you go back to your team leader, your VP of sales, and this is how we set targets, this is what gets results. But you say to him, but I want now a 10% pay rise. I'm prepared to create a C-type goal that will get me to 200% so I can have my 10% pay rise? Would you do it? Or will you just accept and settle? So companies out there, you have a 10% growth, 20% growth. What about a 50%? What about 100% growth? Bob Proctor took a company from, it was 163rd in its rankings, an insurance company, and he made it number one in 2 years. What do you want? You see, not everything. Are you here? Here's the science. Are you ready for this? Everything is on a vibration, and your results are on a vibration. So let these lines just represent a vibration. Everything is on a vibration. So you get hold of me because you know the frequency of my phone. You're on this live link because of the frequency of LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching this. So your results are on a frequency. You are on a frequency, and you are on the frequency of your results. You may not like your results, but that is law. It is science. You are a frequency, and the frequency will attract the same frequency and vibration. So when we set a C-type goal, so remember the A and B will just be along the same lines as your old results. We're not even interested in that anymore. We're done with that. We're done with 10% growth. It's not even growth. We want a goal that is outside, way outside the box. And we've got to make a decision to make it there. Now, for everybody who's on LinkedIn, I did do a decision article. If you haven't received that decision article, because it is the most important thing that you could give to your team, you can have that. But please reach out to me, message me if you haven't got this decision article. Just put it in the comments here, because I will take a look at all the comments after. And we will literally make sure that you get that decision article. It is game changing. Game changing. But then we start looking down here. We start actually going, but I can't. I will when I've got the money. I will whenever Brexit dies down. I can't do that because of COVID. If you're using any excuse, now you can have all the excuses of the day. I actually promise you, every single excuse, anything that you say after the word I would, but, or I can't because, is an excuse. Now, it may be very valid, and you may have every single piece of evidence to back that up. I'm not listening, because that would be me listening to your programming, and I have no interest in listening to your program. No interest whatsoever in listening to your programming. I listen to mine often enough. I am done with listening to old programming. I have reprogrammed myself to make committed decisions. And committed decisions means when you make a decision that you take action from that feeling of that place. So say you had 200% growth. What would that feel like? What if you took your annual salary and made it monthly? What would that feel like? Who would be smiling in your family? Can you see people smiling because you're able to here you go, have this, buy somebody a car, I don't know, help somebody start a business, help homeless people, because you've got so much yourself, it doesn't really matter. What does that feel like? Feels good, doesn't it? It feels bloody good. I remember Pitbull saying, people say that, money doesn't make anybody happy, but you watch somebody's face when you give them money. You can almost see like a relief on them and a thank you, gratitude. Wouldn't you be grateful? You will not become whoever you are now without money is who you will be with money. You will just be an expanded version of yourself. So if you're not very nice, then yeah, maybe you don't want an awful lot of money. But I know every single one of you watching this today are just pure perfection and awesomeness. And you are totally, totally amazing. You have no idea. And I can see it. I can see the light of who you are. And if you're watching this, it's because you've asked for something, and I'm here. I am just the messenger. Remember, there's a free gift at the end of this. A free gift. Are you going to stay? I'd love you to. Remember to like and share and comment so that I get more comments and more likes. And the more I see your name, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close my eyes and I'm going to pick from a list. And the more times your name's there, the chances are you're going to win it. And it's a gift worth £700. And it's what helped me make 100K. It was a game changer for me. So why do we need to come from our vision? So this is the Shard in London, in case you've never been there. And I used to work there. I loved it there. Going to the very top, looking out at the whole city. It was just beautiful. You see, what I realized was I could see everything from up here. This was coming from my vision. I felt calm. I could breathe. There wasn't a lot of people up there. If you told me where to go to, I could see it. There was no problem. But when I went down to the ground floor, then I was just banging into everybody else. There's too many people. I can't see where I'm going. Do you see that? Do you see that difference there? When you can come from your goal already achieved, and even the word goal, guess what the word goal is? It's not a goal until it's scored. It's already yours. You wouldn't want it if it wasn't already yours. The science backs that up. Quantum physics backs it up. Everything is here now. There's just a continuum of now. There is no past. There is no future. Actually, show me where the past is. The past is only what you keep in your head, and that is the veil over the future for tomorrow. And you end up with the past in the future. Because this now is creating the next now. So if you don't have it now, you won't have it next week. You won't have it next month. You won't have it next year. That's why people don't get what's on the vision board, because they think it's some future tense. We've got to start teaching our sales teams that we have it now, and to walk like a winner and to feel like a winner. You see, that's not faking it till you make it. It is no longer trying to get something, because you already are it. You are an embodiment of it. And just like a tree, the fruit of the tree comes from the core of the tree, which comes from the roots. But we're so focused on the fruits. But that's not where they grow from. They grow from the core of you. So everything in your life is the fruit on the tree. And if it's not very good, then you need to go and look inside yourself. And look at your roots, the very core of what you are doing and who you are being. When you can understand that and look after that instead, the fruits will take care of themselves. So it depends where you're looking from. If you keep looking from the ground level, then you will be on ground level, and that's all you will get. What this needs is a paradigm shift. Your programming. So just like I said, I was a computer programmer. Now I help reprogram minds. I don't teach you what to think. I put in an operating system. I help you with that operating system, and then you choose what to think. Wow, what power is that? You can put whatever you want into your computer, into your mind, and it will run through a program. How powerful would that be? How powerful if everybody in your team knew how to think? Then we can teach our children how to think, and our children's children how to think. And this mess won't be here anymore, because people will know how to think. And how to think will bring clarity. When you think in clarity, you have order. When you have order, it is heaven. It's not more, is it this? Is it this? Should I do this? Should I do that? No, you will know without a shadow of a doubt what decisions that you will and will not make. And you will know where you're going. You want 200%? You can have it. What's a paradigm? A mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. You get up in the morning, you have a coffee, you take the kids to school, da 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 da. Just look at your life. Look at your life. I mean, I need say no more. Look at your life. Is it the same every day? Is it the same this week as it was last week and the week before and the week before? And maybe even 5 years ago. Oh, different holidays, different clothes. But is it more or less the same? Is your salary, your income more or less the same? Are your friends more or less the same? Nothing has changed. Now, if you're happy with that, let me just give you an idea is that you're either growing or dying. There's no cruising, because even cruising, you have to go downhill. This is nature. This is science. You're either growing or you're dying. And growing feels uncomfortable. And if you're comfortable, you're actually disintegrating. Oh, it feels comfortable there, doesn't it? That's settling. But when you settle, your kids settle, then your kids' kids will settle. When there's the whole world, infinity, open for you. Now, there's nothing wrong. You can do whatever you want. There's no judgment here. But is that what you really came here to do? So when you're 90, everything's the same? I know it's all about relationships that we have and that it's not about money, and money doesn't make you happy. But it's the whole abundance and the feeling of abundance, no matter what is happening in your life. No matter what is happening, you were actually born rich. You were born with everything. But bit by bit, you were told you had to get this, get that, get the other. I'm looking to work with winners. If you're a winner, you might want to stay to the end of this, because you're the person I want to talk to. I can only work with winners. You see, you today, we get programmed by everything around us. We are just antennae waiting to pick up information. Your thoughts are not even your thoughts. They're just floating around here. And you, whatever vibration you're in, you pick it up. I hope that's good news to some people, because you keep taking these thoughts and making them your own, and they're not even yours. You just made it your own. I know, don't tell me, yes, I know you've got all the evidence of the day. But listen, I had a girl come with me who was literally in therapy for 20 years, and within 2 months, she just stopped the therapy when she realized what was going on. And as you're a child, you're flipping, you haven't really got a conscious mind. Your self-image is just completely being programmed by everything and everyone around you. For goodness sake, when you're around children, keep your mouth quiet and keep your vibration good. If you can't think of anything else, then just think of, I love this. What do you love? What do you love? Don't be feeding them all the rubbish from the world. And then when we go to schools, we get knowledge piled into that 2%, more and more knowledge, but nobody teaches us how to think. They teach us what to think. And nobody's even thought about the self-image. Nobody talks about it. And it's 98% of where your results are coming from. And it just causes, look at this, superior knowledge and inferior results. It just causes more. And there's enough confused people around here today. You need to make a committed decision to that goal. And you're going to draw something. It's not, the goal is not the getting, because the goal is already done. The word itself is scored. It's already done. It is to draw something out of you, to absolutely draw something outside of you that you couldn't see before. And it feels so weird. And I did all my qualifications in comfort. I loved them all. Now I realize I didn't grow. My goodness, have I grown through thinking into results with Bob Proctor. I grew and I grew, and it was so uncomfortable. And I see my other colleagues as well doing the same thing, thinking we were wrong. But actually, that's what was right about it all. I can smile now. It wasn't very pretty when I was going through it. Because your paradigm will literally has an effect over your perception, your use of time, your creativity, your effectiveness, your productivity, and even your logic. If you're doing logic, you're not changing. You've got to do the illogical. The illogical. People have got to say, you're silly, you're stupid, that's ridiculous. Then you know you're changing something. First they laugh, then they criticize, then they go, I knew you could do it. Nah, not interested now. There's 2 ways to change your paradigm: constant, spaced repetition. Are you prepared to do that on your own? It takes between 8 and 265 days to change a habit, something like that. Don't quote me on the figures, for goodness sake, I'm giving you an idea. 66 days is the average. Have you done anything for 66 days in a row? We're really good at complaining. My goodness. No matter what you can do. Whenever I was on first class in Emirates was beautiful. First class in Virgin, I was just like, well, this isn't as good. And I thought, oh, look at me. I've always found something to complain about. First world problems, Sheena. I decided that if I was going to complain, I'd complain about first world problems. And the other one is an emotional impact. Now, we've all had plenty of emotional impacts in our lives. And they will rise as we ask the questions, and you can see them and you can lay them to rest. There's no point in hanging on to them, but most of us can't even see what our program is. That's why it's in the subconscious, the unconscious. We're unconscious about it. And this journey isn't about knowledge, it's about awareness, so that we can move forward. But it takes a committed decision. Committed decision. Not talking from down here. I'll do it when. It will never happen. I'll do it when I've got the money. I'll do it when I've got time. No. Read the decision article. Like I say, if you haven't got it, please make sure that you say something in the chat. Give me, decision article. That's all you need to do. Decision article. Type it in the chat and I will make sure that you get it. Or message me. But how to make decisions will change your life. Listen, I'm in this house now. I wrote on the dotted line when I didn't have a penny. I signed for this house when I had no money. Bob said to me, do you believe what we teach? So I had to go and do it. It's kind of scary. But we talk to you about the terror barrier and all of that. We talk you through all stuff like that. It helps. But listen, procrastination is actually fear. So if you're not actually stepping forward, there's some sort of fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of risk. There is only now. There isn't next year. If you don't have it now, you don't have it. You can make the choice, make excuses or make money. Make excuses or get results. Everything that comes out of your mouth, I guarantee, is an excuse. I know, because I made them all. Every single one. It all comes with a decision. What do you want? Do you want your team to be number one? Do you want your team to have 10%, 20%, 30% bonus? Do you want to increase your income by 200%? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Whatever pops up in your head is true for you. Nobody's going to judge you here. Because if you don't do it, your present results are causing your thoughts. They're causing your feelings. They cause your actions, which cause the present results to carry on. Wow. That hamster wheel, you're working very hard to stand still, just like the first slide that we had seen. Now here's like a little graphical. Don't worry, we've only got another 5 more minutes here. So this is our little person here who got a goal in her head. What our ideal situation is that, our subconscious is completely aligned. You know what alignment feels like? It's a decision, isn't it? Alignment is a decision. When you've made a decision and you went, that's it, no shit, Sherlock, this is what's happening. You're in alignment. That's what alignment feels like. This is alignment here. So then you take action. You have a certain vibration. You take action and you get the results. Now, what does procrastination look like? We've got our antennae, our 5 senses are hooked into the results rather than the goal. Our antennae, our five senses, are hooked into the results. And those results then cause our thinking. The conditions, the circumstances going round and round and round and round and round and round in our head. That feeds into the paradigm. And so between the two of them, they're literally stuck, and you're reprogramming the old paradigm. It is just going round and round and round in circles. We're just stuck when what we really want is the alignment that will bring us the results. Effortless. You see, the procrastination side is hard work, and that's what everybody's doing. We want to be on this other side, the left side. Ease, flow, and joy. So it's up to you. There's a gift now. But you can make excuses, or you can get results, or you can decide, absolutely decide that it is now and that you've had enough. Because unless you know how to reprogram, I've told you what to do, but unless you know what to program it with, I don't know until I can see you. So your free gift is 30-minute clarity call with me. I'm going to put the link in the comments. And so this is what you can do. Will you decide that you, your team, and you know what, your pension, to be honest, that you end up on 40% of what you couldn't survive on in the first place? So I wish I could put it up there, but I've just literally lost my link. I'm going to put it up after, or you can message me. So decision article, I see you've got it there, Kim. I will get the link, and I will make sure I put it in this chat, so you'll be notified, I'm sure, of it, whatever you've been on. So we went through an awful lot there, didn't we? My goodness, I didn't know it was actually going to take me an hour and a half, even when I said it was going to be an hour and a half. So if you want to create world-class sales results, you need to be a world-class sales person. End of story. End of story. You have to be it. The concept of yourself, your self-image must be a winner. Don't fake it. I want you to understand what it feels like if you were already. Your imagination is the most powerful, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever seen. Napoleon Hill said that. Use it. Stop using it. To think of a movie. There's a light, there's a film reel, and then there's the effect on the screen. This is your life. You are the light. You have a consciousness, which is your imagination, and it is projected onto the screen of the world. Stop messing around with the screen. Get back into your consciousness. Choose what you want to think. Now, if it was that easy, we'd all be doing it that fast, wouldn't it? But that's all we need to do. Remember that light consciousness screen. Stop messing around with the screen. You can do nothing about the light. It's all shining anyway. You can't change the images in your consciousness. Your consciousness is a mathematical reflection out there. It is literally a mathematical reflection. So, what are you putting into your consciousness? The concept of who you are. Are you a winner? Do you want your team to be a winner? Can you imagine if your whole sales team, or even just yourself, had this knowledge? So this is your free call. Book a call with me. I'll put the link in after. I'll put it in the description, actually. It'll be easier to find there. And when you click on that link, then book the call with me this week. We will talk about where you are, where you're going to go, why you're not there. And I'll tell you why you're not there, to be honest. And you can do whatever you want with that piece of information. But you will want to work with me. There's nobody else doing it the way I do it. Clearly not. I know how you're programmed. I can give you an assessment for that, and I will see how you think. That will unlock you, first of all, free to be you. And that's the free gift. worth £700. So thank you for everybody who has commented. Thank you for all being here. And thank you for everybody on the replay as well. And there was so much information in there. If you replay this over and over and over and over again, you'll get results. But will you do it? We need some accountability, don't we? Accountability is your number one success factor. And by goodness, am I honest with my people? I will tell you how it is. If I see a paradigm, I know exactly, and I will not listen to paradigms. I do not want to listen to paradigms talking. I see the greatness inside you. I'd love to help you let it out. Actually, look, there's the link underneath that screen there, right in front of me. Do you see that? calendly.com/Sheena/discovery. It was that simple. There you go. The link's on the screen. Click away. Join me. Book me a call for your team, your company, yourself. But you've got to be serious if you get on a call with me, because I'll challenge you. Have a good day now. See you later.